Hello,
Yes,
everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Staying Sane with Jay and Hussein. I'm Jay, and this is Hussein.
Hussein. Yeah. Namaste.
Yes, yes. So, welcome, everybody. So, this is the news for the week of July 22nd. So, let me
Yeah.
dive right in. We've got a couple of American news items. So, as we all know, Trump got shot, and all of the Republican God stuff has now come out of the works. Trump has,
Yeah.
claims he was saved by God, and all of the hysteria that the MAGA Republican Christian right are going through. It's
Mm.
hilarious to watch if it wasn't so
Yeah.
disturbing on an existential level. And then yesterday, Joe Biden resigned. So as we know, a few weeks ago, Joe Biden claimed he would only resign if God himself came down and talked to him. So Joe's resigned, so we can conclude that God must have come down and talked to Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So,
We are
Hussein,
we are
over to
forced to
you.
we are forced to presume that that God has come.
Yeah.
And all the gods are working in the US now,
Yeah.
irrespective of all the troubles that is being um, carried out by the same God in all other parts of the world, especially in the Middle East, in the Palestine region. So the gods are more interested in even not just the humans, but even the gods are interested in the US elections, I think.
Yeah. All right. So that's
Yeah.
my two from the US. If you want to
Yeah.
pick it up,
Yeah,
over to you.
so we can just move on to a report from Oman that came last week. That is something about a mosque attack, a shooting that happened in a mosque in Oman during the Shiite celebration of the Muharram, that is the Ashura day. Almost six people were killed and many others were wounded, and the attack was being claimed to be done by the ISIS again. And this is of something more important, or is something serious, because Oman is believed to be a peaceful region in this Middle East, in the GCC countries. And now when this happens there, this is giving a sense of security issues and a sense of terror that is looming in this region. And people are now looking for many such more instances of violence and terror that could happen in this GCC region. So this is something that points towards such a, very crucial instance of terror. And this happened during the Shiite festival of Ashura, and that even goes behind this age-old Shia Sunni issues, where that is not just confined to this Middle East. It is even spread out in even in any other part of the world, including even in the Western countries. You can see the sort of issues happening over there. When, especially when the population of Islam or the Muslims go beyond a number, even this can even surface in other parts of the world. So this is a signal towards in which all areas we should be careful about. So that's one news from Oman that I can say it now. Yeah,
Okay. Anything else?
you can go on.
Great. Okay. So news from the UK. So we know that Keir Steiner, I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but Keir,
Mm,
interesting first name. So the UK has its most secular parliament in history, with 40% of MPs opting to swear allegiance to the king and not to God, and half of the cabinet. So that's a pretty big change that we're
mm,
seeing in the UK. So I'd be kind of curious to see what that means. I mean, personally, he's never going to admit it publicly, but I'd kind of be curious to know what Prince William's thoughts are, because we saw with the coronation of Charles, obviously there was a lot of, Christianity. The
mm,
head of the the monarch is the head of the Church of England. Obviously, Queen Elizabeth was very devout, so we're seeing a big demographic shift in the UK. Like something like only like 10% of Englishmen or English people still, attend Church of England regularly. So I mean, the demographics in the UK have shifted enormously, as we're seeing with this new, 50% of cabinet ministers are secular,
mm.
40% of the all of the MPs. So it'd be interesting to see if the monarchy is going to shift and do away with being the head of the Church of England, and being more representative of the country at large, instead of being just thinking it's an Anglican country. So
Mhm.
anyway, it'd be interesting to see what happens. So, all right, and then this week, the UN International Criminal Court of Justice has ruled that the Israeli settlements in the West Bank and Gaza are illegal and they must be cleared out. Obviously, security issues are a concern. The U.S. was pushing obviously on the ICJ that they don't make any sort of unrealistic, sort of unilateral timeframes that Israel must preserve its security, but that the settlements have been deemed illegal. Related to Israel, the Israeli parliament has rejected the creation of a Palestinian state, voting 68 to 9. And in the declaration that the Knesset issued, says the
Mm.
Knesset of Israel firmly opposes the establishment of a Palestinian state of west of the Jordan. The establishment of a Palestinian state in the heart of the land of Israel would pose an existential danger to the state of Israel and its citizens, perpetuate the Israeli-Palestine conflict, and destabilize the region. Now, a comment from a an analyst
Mm.
says the ICJ ruling is not legally binding, but it has symbolic importance, which should not be overlooked. And to quote this analyst, it is Israel trying to create a fact on the ground which does not exist, that Israel has the power to determine whether Palestinians exist or exist as a state. What we have is a multilateral recognition of Palestinian statehood and unilateral Israeli rejection. So that's the news from the Middle East.
Yeah.
One other Middle Eastern one is a senior Palestinian official who is the alternative to Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, has apparently called on Allah to annihilate the Jews, which is
Mm.
certainly not helpful rhetoric in toning down and turning down the heat in this conflict when we're invoking religion, which just is just more inflammatory rhetoric that doesn't help anybody. So
But
one final,
unfortunately,
yep, yeah,
yeah,
one
but
final news issue. Oh, good.
no, no, I
You were
just
saying?
was adding something to that. That is, unfortunately, that's how they are forced to move forward as per their preamble of their charter, the Hamas and the fighting force from Gaza right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, the religion is backing that.
Yeah. My final news is the African nation of Burkina Faso, which has a military junta, has just amended the family code to criminalize homosexuality with some new legislation that still needs to be passed, but it only recognizes religious or customary marriages. The
Mm.
current leader who took power in September 2020 overthrew a previous military ruler and accused him of failing to quell an Islamic insurgency. So Burkina Faso obviously has some religious nonsense going on that's leading to coups, leading to the criminalization of homosexuality,
Mm.
and with the Islamic issues. So another area to keep an eye on and see how things unfold.
Yeah.
Any other news from your side, Hussein?
Yeah, this is again from something related to Israel Hamas issue. That is a recent report from the Human Rights Watch that came about, and it says that numerous war crimes and crimes against humanity against civilians during the October 7th attack in southern Israel. This is what it mentions about. And in the 236-page report, and the title is I Can't Erase All the Blood from My Mind, Palestinian Armed Groups October 7 Assault on Israel. The rights watchdog said that the October 7th attack was directed against a civilian population and that killing civilians and taking hostages were central aims of the planned attack, not an afterthought, a plan gone awry, or isolated acts. This is what it is mentioned. So I think this should reach at least among some of the world population, which is not uh, going on right now, because mostly the people are led away with the rhetorics around the Hamas issue and how this is being popularized as a propaganda. We know all the kind of anti-Semitic arguments and such things, which is getting more popularity during this time, and which even is forcing others to ignore other issues, which happens even more dangerous and even more um, uh, which violates human rights and other things, like what happens in Sudan, what happened in Nigeria, what happens in Afghanistan and other places. So this is how it is being made into a propaganda. So this one news from this Human Rights Watch, which is pertaining to this Hamas Israel issue, and something closely associated with that is from the UAE. UAE deported a student who wore Palestinian keffiyeh at a graduation ceremony. So we have seen a lot of people using that attire, that keffiyeh, as a symbol of solidarity with the Palestinian people. That's totally fine. But the question here is that when it comes to the GCC countries, especially UAE, Saudi, and we have seen, and we have even mentioned that in our previous episode. When another person was being taken away by the security forces when he tried to wear the same during the Hajj pilgrimage. That's what another issue, one another instance where we saw that. So that same way, here the student wore this during his graduation ceremony, and he was taken out. He was deported. That's what it is mentioned. So that's a serious crime as per their. Um, they have mentioned it like Abu Dhabi reportedly banned wearing of cultural attire at graduation ceremony in May. This is what the rule is there, and I think this specifically point towards um, any symbol of solidarity, even if in the name of solidarity, even if it is kafia. There's uh, no room for an excuse or an exemption, even in the name of Palestinian cause. So that's what we saw here. And something closely related to that is from Qatar, where a surge in anti Semitism in textbooks is being reported from Qatar. When we are seeing a lot of such materials are getting removed from other parts of the GCC countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, and other countries where they are totally removing or even they are eliminating such things and they are replacing it with something positive to heal such wounds. And we are seeing such anti Semitism which is being inculcated into their curriculum in Qatar. So this is something that is closely associated with that. And I think with this, I have completed my news from this side. Yeah.
Okay, so that's our roundup for this week. So then we
Yeah.
move into our debate portion. So this week we want to talk about Biden stepping down and what that's going to
Mm.
mean. So Biden has thrown his support, as have other leading Democrats, behind Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris obviously is a woman.
Mm.
She's part black and she's part I believe her mother is Indian, right? So she's
Yeah.
also part Southeast Asian. So she ticks a lot of boxes, but she's not really that well liked by the Democratic base. So I'm not really sure she can beat Trump. So Trump is something, to put it mildly, of a wild card in international and domestic politics. What that's going to mean, there were lots of rumors about like the Russian P tape, so what does this mean for the Ukraine? If Trump is in Putin's pocket, is the excuse me, I had COVID last week, which is why I wasn't here, and
Yeah.
Husane did it
Yeah.
alone. So I'm still a little bit coughing a little bit.
You
Um, excuse me.
you can have some
So
water. No problem.
I don't have any in here. I didn't think about it. Um,
Okay.
the idea that, if Trump is in Putin's pocket, what is that going to mean for the Ukraine? Obviously, Trump moved the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which was hugely symbolic. So,
Mm.
what is this going to mean for Palestine if Trump gets reelected? I mean, there's so much at play, the socio-political dynamics that are at play here, that a Trump presidency are just going to upend so many things. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think to solve this issue, that is, at least forget about solving. I'm talking about uh, to find a common ground where this problem can be settled on some common grounds. If we have to find some common grounds for that, there should be an external force. That's what I always believe. Because here, the root cause, even when we say that it's a humanitarian issue and it's affecting a lot of people and the civilians are affected and all, the core issue here comes to around the religion and the textbooks and such things, where even we mention about the charter in for this Hamas, where it mentions that Islam will obliterate a Jewish state. That's what is mentioned in that. So that means what? It's all about religion and their beliefs, which is taking them forward. And at that point of time, it's very difficult to disprove or to show the futility in holding such ideals. So instead of that, we can, if we have to find a common ground where there is a proper international pressure, and we can put forward a geopolitical solution for a geopolitical issue. In that case, if America, the US, if it can come forward and be, or it can represent in that way, obviously that requires a strong leader. That's what is required. And it's not about the weaponry, the military prowess or any other things like that, but it's all about the center stage anyone can take forward, and who can bring both the sides and facilitate such a talk with some solid solutions in front. So in
Well,
that
Trump's
case,
certainly not going to do that. He's not going to
yeah,
facilitate any helpful conversations.
yeah, but of course, then what comes here is that there comes a chance for that. That's what I see here. At least you have a two options, a simple two options. So in that, the sides will be forced to choose among them, and one will be a military option, and the other one will be a non-military option. So in that case, things will be little more easier to identify and easier to come to a conclusion. So that's what I always believe. And in that way, when we look at what Trump is about to do, if he is coming to the presidency, things will be little more different. That I would say. I'm not saying that that is future proof or that is something beautiful, but we can expect something different. That's what I always believe. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think Trump is going to be good for the situation. I think he's just going to be fuel on the fire. One issue I just thought of as you were talking,
Mm,
I'm reminded of the fact that Trump is supported by the evangelical Christian right. Now,
mm,
why does the evangelical Christian right support Israel? Because they see it as a means to an end for the second coming of Christ. Vice News. I don't know. So some of our viewers may be familiar with Vice. About within the
mm,
last 10 years, Vice News. You can maybe find it on Daily Motion or on YouTube. If you search on Vice News, they did a segment on the evangelical Christians and their support of Israel, and they're very open about it. They come right out and say they support the state of Israel because it
mm.
is a means to an end for triggering the second coming. So you've got the evangelical
So,
Christian right and Project 2025 with Trump, who's in Putin's pocket and already an ally of strong man like
mm.
Netanyahu. This is not going to end well for anybody. So
So
I
again, religion is coming into place to stop
sorry, what is coming
religion,
into place? Religion.
religion,
Okay, yeah.
religion, to stop the second coming of the Christ.
Yeah.
So
Oh, what a mess.
the
Staying
world, the
sane. That's
world is really crazy when it comes to all these things, and where we can see uh, the areas where the gods and the god men are playing, taking all their roles and causing all these troubles. Yet people are afraid of talking about this. That's what I see, and that's the hypocrisy that I always see. And I just want people to address that, because whenever we say that this is having a sort of religious reason behind, people always say that no, 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 that's not the reason. We we have to focus on geopolitics. So the geopolitics is the reason for the religion. That's how uh, they try to come around in all the issues. You take India, Pakistan. You take what is going on in Afghanistan. You take what's going on in the Uyghur Muslims in China, or the Rohingyans in Myanmar, or wherever you go. You will try to find a geopolitics or something other than religion as a cause. So even in this issue, we are seeing the same. But the truth is the other way. That's what we see here. So we need to keep on expose this. That's the only way by which we can bring about a solid solution for all these things, and it's not easy. Yeah.
Indeed. And it's changing, like with the younger generations and
Yeah,
access to information.
it's
Demographics
changing.
are shifting, politics and perspectives are shifting. So,
Mm,
this is going to be a generational shift, I think. So,
yeah, and they're least concerned about all this religious uh, BS, so that's easy for them to decide upon things, to not to carry forward all these errors of their past. Yeah.
yeah, that'll be a nice future if we can
Yeah,
if we
nice
can make it
future.
happen.
I wish I could live that longer.
We'll see. Well, if the environment doesn't kill us all first. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I guess
Okay.
that's it for this week. It's short and
Yeah.
sweet, 20 minents. So great. Well, we
Yeah.
thank everybody for tuning in. I hope it was fun and informative for you.
We
Go ahead.
we have an ex-Muslim atheist from Bangladesh who is saying
Oh,
hi, Jahangir. Yeah,
yeah,
and some other
cool.
people. So yeah, some other new visitors here. Thank you so much for joining with us.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
take care, everybody. We'll see everybody next week. Bye bye.
Bye. Namaste.